Straight ahead on 12 News, honoring our veterans, from a Maple Grove Elementary School to a senior living facility in Plymouth. Then it's an empty field and mounds of dirt now, but that could be changing in Maple Grove. But first, an extremely close call for a Rogers police officer. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. That Rogers police officer is lucky to be alive after a crash late Monday night.
He and a state trooper were responding to a jackknife semi-truck on eastbound Interstate 94. Sonia Goins shows us what happened next.
It's Minnesota and it's winter and it's our first snow, so slow down.
Chief Jeffrey Bean says officers were busy responding to accidents because of icy roads on Monday.
We had about 90 crashes ourselves that we handled yesterday.
One of those crashes involved one of their own.
As a chief, it's not the call I want to get at 11 o'clock at night.
Officer Jared Peterson and a Minnesota state trooper were helping the driver of a jackknife truck when another semi slammed into their squads. This is dash cam video from another Rogers squad that was also on the scene. Officer Peterson was able to make it out of his squad. This is what his car looks like now.
They'll be able to estimate, looking at this video, what they think that truck was traveling at.
Officer Peterson doesn't remember much about the crash.
After he was struck, he didn't really know what had happened. He remembered hearing a horn honk, and then he said there was an explosion.
Peterson is banged up and bruised, but luckily he has no broken bones.
He had some bruising that was evident at the hospital, but at this time they don't believe that he has any internal injuries.
Police say this accident could have been much worse. After the second crash happened, another semi flew by the accident scene.
How they made it through there without hitting anyone else is again, another miracle.
Now, Officer Peterson isn't the only Rogers police officer to get hurt on this stretch of highway. His fellow officers say the area is so dangerous, they call it the Widowmaker.
We had a Rogers police officer about 6 or 7 years ago that was hit and unfortunately disabled or injured to the point he couldn't return back to duty.
Chief Bean is glad Officer Peterson was able to walk away from the crash with only minor injuries.
When you look at a fully loaded semi hitting a squad car and the fact that the officer walked away from it's nothing short of a miracle.
In Rogers, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Officer Peterson was treated at the Maple Grove Hospital and is now at a home recovering. The state trooper is also okay. No word if the semi-driver will be charged with reckless driving.
The city of Osseo hopes to speed up snow removal along Central Avenue. City Council unanimously approved a stricter snow removal ordinance. It gives businesses 4 hours to remove snow after it has fallen. The change impacts daylight hours and allows more time for overnight snow removal. If the snow is not removed, the city may do so and charge the property owner. The change takes effect on November 20th.
Maple Grove, the city with the second most retail in the state, could get even more. Opus Group is proposing a hotel, restaurants, and 85,000 square feet of retail at the northeast corner of Hemlock and Elm Creek Boulevard. The plan, called The Point at Arbor Lakes, would also include office buildings on the northern portion of the site. The Planning Commission did recommend approval, though members had hoped for higher density housing for part of the site.
Major changes may be coming to a Golden Valley corner. Nearly 11 acres of land at the southeast corner of Winnetka and Medicine Lake Road could become apartments and townhomes. Property in question includes the Golden Valley VFW. A developer told the Golden Valley Planning Commission that the city needs that corridor to become vibrant again. The Planning Commission voted to update the comprehensive plan for future housing and retail. Zoning changes and an approval process comes later. A new senior living center is making sure its veterans get the recognition they deserve.
The Waters of Plymouth is hosting a special Veterans Day ceremony right now, and that's where we find our Cassie Bonstrom. She joins us live. Hi, Cassie.
Hi, Alex. Yes, the ceremony here at the Waters just began. The Knights of Columbus is raising the flag with several of the veterans standing by with a salute. The other of the 18 veterans are watching by the window inside. Resident Gary Speakermeyer is a Marine who spent more than a year in Vietnam. Like many veterans, he is very humble and gives most credit to the generation of veterans before him. But he says he's proud of his service and grateful to the military for making him the man he is today.
It gave me a sense of purpose. It increased my self-pride, and how it just grew me.
To commemorate Veterans Day today, the Waters of Plymouth is putting up a display of photos of the 18 veterans, including Gary, who now live here. Director Joni Oberg says it's a small way for the facility to acknowledge and thank them for their service and sacrifice.
I want them to know that they're appreciated and that they're here with us and we want to honor them. And so that's why we're doing the Wall of Honor, so that it's a daily reminder of where they've been and what they've done and that they are living with us in this beautiful community.
The group here is just finishing the Star-Spangled Banner. I'm trying not to disturb them here. A local Boy Scout troop is also donating another flag to the center that will be displayed in the living room. After this, the whole group, they will proceed back into the living room here where they will have a program. They will have a pianist who is going to play songs from the 5 branches of the military. And many of these men and women, they're very humble about their experience, but you can tell it does mean a lot for them to be recognized. Mike and Alex.
All right, Cassie Bonstrom reporting in Plymouth. Thanks much. Anoka-Hennepin schools are remembering a longtime school board member. Scott Wenzel died unexpectedly at his Brooklyn Park home on Saturday. He served on the school board for more than 18 years. Wenzel was there when the district grew to the largest in the state. He also helped make the tough decisions to close 8 schools several years ago. Former Superintendent Roger Giroux says he had thorough knowledge of education and was responsible for some of the specialty programs that the district currently has.
Extraordinary advocate for student learning. I mean, truly committed to the idea that every child should learn, not just have a right to learn, but should learn. Committed to the idea that reading was the cornerstone of learning. Math and reasoning skills are critical early in the child's experience. And he had a lot of effect on the policies that framed those programs for Anoka-Hennepin.
Wenzel was 56 years old. Services are planned Thursday at Christ Lutheran Church in Champlin. Coming up, ways to enjoy the holidays without falling back into unhealthy eating habits. That's coming up next in Health Check.
And then in sports, they survived a close call, and now the Totino-Grace football team is set for state semifinal action. You'll hear from them coming up.
But first, January-like weather in November. High temperatures this week only in the 20s. They are some of the germiest places around, and we often don't think about them, but listen up, they could get you sick. One of the germiest places, the grocery cart. Even reusable grocery bags can get germy too, especially if food leaks in them. Number 2, think twice about touching that ketchup bottle or the salt and pepper shakers. Condiments can carry germs at any restaurants. It's a good idea to handle them with a napkin. And number 3, laundromats. It truly is dirty laundry. Bacteria tend to accumulate in washing machines, so avoid touching your face. Think about those a little bit, right? Now, other common germy areas include those gas pump handles and ATM buttons. It's a good idea to wash your hands right away when you get home or get to work. Thanksgiving Day is a little more than 2 weeks away, but if the idea of gorging yourself on turkey and pumpkin pie doesn't fit into your weight loss plans, not to worry.
It is possible to eat healthy during the holidays. In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland looks at how to avoid Thanksgiving and holiday weight gain.
Mike and Alex, Thanksgiving is on November 27th, and for a lot of people that kicks off about a month or so of unhealthy eating, but it doesn't have to be that way. Joining me to talk more about that is Danette Peterson, a registered dietitian from Medifast Weight Control Centers. So tell me, Thanksgiving, is it possible to eat healthy for Thanksgiving and the rest of the holiday season?
It sure is. Thanksgiving and all the holidays, you do not have to be deprived. We can make substitutions to make your holiday eating healthy.
And so what do you have in mind then? Maybe you can show us some of what you're talking about.
Sure. This is your typical Thanksgiving meal. You're going to have your favorite mashed potatoes, turkey, you're going to have gravy, all of those things. So some of the things that we did to make the dinner a little healthier, the mashed potatoes, for example. We have a recipe for mashed cauliflower that is fabulous. And once you switch over, you'll probably like the cauliflower better. And then turkey, one of the things that you can do to really cut down on the amount of calories in your turkey is when you're roasting it, put the cover on. The moisture will stay in the meat and you don't have to baste it with a lot of extra butter or any types of fats. It'll stay moist and delicious.
Over the holiday season, I know me personally, I'm bombarded with a bunch of unhealthy treats. People bring in cookies, cupcakes. What's your advice for people wanting to avoid some of those things?
So what you want to do if you're going to be going to a party or to dinner at somebody's house, make sure that you don't go there hungry because you don't know what you're going to run into. So if you eat something healthy before you go, then you're less likely to overeat when you're at that event. Of course, the favorite thing for holidays is the desserts most of the time. We have a recipe for a healthy holiday pumpkin pie, and what we've done with that one is just substitute some of the higher calorie ingredients.
So people can look forward to the holidays without their waistlines expanding. And all you gotta do is follow these few simple tips.
Exactly. It's all about making the substitutions and going for the healthier options.
All right, thank you so much. Mike and Alex, back to you.
All right, and if you want to get some of those healthy holiday recipes for yourself, Delane has those listed on the web version of this story. Just go to 12.tv. Well, coming up, a special way students at Fernbrook Elementary honored veterans today.
But first, the Champlin Park girls hockey team skates into the season with plenty of optimism. John Jacobson previews the team coming up next in sports.
Totino-Grace football getting ready for that next game, wherever that game will be. They're looking at other venues around the state.
Snow has put the sites possibly into change mode, and we'll find out here in the next day or so what is going to happen. Our burst of wintry weather has the State High School League pondering changes to the schedule for the football playoffs. As Jay Wilcox reports, the Totino-Grace Eagles are ready to roll in the Class 6A semifinals.
Monday's snow meant an indoor practice in the gym at Totino-Grace, but it didn't faze the Eagles.
Our first day of the week is prep week, so we do a lot of film work, do a scouting report, we chalk stuff up, we come in the gym, we walk through, so this doesn't hurt us today.
No, I actually like it. One of my biggest dream was playing in the snow, so it's gonna come true on Thursday night. And most of the guys like that it snowed today and kind of realize Christmas is coming up pretty soon, so we all like that.
Totino-Grace had a strong comeback to win their state quarterfinal 21-19 against Moundsview. That's after trailing 13-0 after 3 quarters.
No, we didn't change anything going into the second half. It's just that we just stuck with what we had and went harder every play. Just never really gave up.
While they have a great tradition, there was some question whether this Eagles team had the talent to get this far. It's a bit of a surprise.
A little bit. I think it's a tremendous accomplishment. We're very young. We've started 16 different underclassmen. We've started 9 different sophomores. Our seniors have provided good leadership.
The defense to...
Next for Grace, Lakeville North, a team that rallied past number 2 Rosemount last week.
They're a great team. We respect them. What we have to do is run our plays, do what we're best, what we're really good at, and just play them and have fun playing against them.
It's another big test, but Totino-Grace is used to that. Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
As the fall season winds down, the first winter sport, girls hockey, is starting the season. Champlin Park hopes to have a strong season. The Rebels have 11 returners from a team that was 7th in the Northwest Suburban Conference last year and went 10-16 overall. They also have some young players coming in who will contribute. Things look good so far.
I think we're definitely looking pretty strong. The scrimmages went pretty well last weekend, and I think a lot of the young girls are taking on their roles, and the older girls obviously are helping out with that. So I think it's starting off pretty well.
The kids are doing a nice job. Couple, new faces in the lineup on the varsity, and that always, it's always nice, a little refreshing. See a couple new kids that took some big strides over the summer.
The Rebels had an impressive season opener, beating Hopkins 6-1. Senior goalie Hannah Gettle, who was honorable mention All-State last year, is a good one. The Rebels say putting more pucks in the net will be a key this winter.
Yeah, we definitely have the potential to score a lot more goals this year than we did last year. All 3 lines are looking really strong this year. So
more goals. That's the biggest thing, and staying out of the box also. So I think those 2 things, and we'll be perfectly fine this year.
Rebels' next game is their conference opener Thursday against Spring Lake Park at Fogarty Arena. Maple Grove's football team takes on Eden Prairie later this week in the Class 6A semifinals. On this week's Sports Jam show on Channel 12, Jay Wilcox profiles Crimson senior Ben Shoults. Here's a bit of that story.
Ben's football skill is matched or exceeded by his academic prowess. A 3.98 student who scored a 33 on his ACT, he's headed to Harvard.
I think ever since as a kid I'd wanted to go to Harvard, and once that opportunity arose, I jumped on it as quick as I could, and I worked on my schoolwork as well as my football abilities, and once they offered me, I just couldn't say no.
He'll also play football for the Harvard Crimson and has biochemistry in mind as a major.
I like a lot of science and math classes, and I want to be a pediatrician when I'm older, so I think biochemistry would be a great lead into medical school.
Ben's ability in the classroom and on the field is impressive, but it's his leadership that stands out with his football team.
You can watch the rest of the Ben Shoults story and more on this week's Sports Jam show. It's on through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. on Channel 12. We'll have more on the Crimson preparing for their semifinal later this week here on 12 News.
Sounds like an impressive young man.
He is, yeah, and his team continuing to play in the playoffs here.
Thanks, John. Up next, a special Veterans Day event for the country's next generation.
We'll be right back. And finally, on this Veterans Day, a patriotic show for the country's next generation.
Dozens of veterans and active duty personnel came forward at a Veterans Day event at Fernbrook Elementary. Students listened to Colonel Eddie Frizzell, a Fernbrook parent himself who served in Iraq. He explained why men and women step up to serve their country.
When you go over there, you ask yourself, what means more to me than anything else in the world? Returning back to the United States to watch you play soccer, to watch your moms and dads go about mowing lawns and grocery shopping. That's called normal.
Today's event also included plenty of patriotic music, as you can imagine, and we're going to leave you with the students' rendition of You're a Grand Old Flag.
Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow.